Hey, our last example for 9.1, Part 1, Points, Lines, Planes, and Angles, is to find angle measures. So here's example 3. What's going to happen is I'm going to give you a set of angles. They're either going to be vertical, complementary, or supplementary, and we're going to first figure out which type it is, and then use that information to solve for some missing variables. So draw yourself some angles. They don't have to be perfect. What we know is that this section right here is 4x plus 19 degrees, and this section right here is 6x minus 5 degrees, and we're supposed to find the angle measures. So here's what we want to do. First, identify what type we've got. So right now, look back in your notes if you need to, but these are vertical angles. And then ask yourself, well, okay, what did we say about vertical angles? We said vertical angles are equal to each other. They're the same measurement. So what that means is I'm going to take the two things I know and set them equal to each other and then solve. So 4x plus 19 equals 6x minus 5. And now solve it like you normally would solve an equation. So gather all of your x's on one side. Gather all of your numbers on the other side. Don't forget, if I'm ever going too fast, you can always pause, write stuff down, and then start the video again. Divide by 2, and I get 12. All right, so now I have found what x is, but I haven't found my final answer because it actually told me to find the angle measures. So then what I want to do is just take my 12, go back up here. I'm going to figure out what 6 times 12 minus 5 is, and it ends up being 67 degrees. And now if we did this right, 4 times 12 plus 19 then should also be 67 degrees because again they're vertical, so they're the same. And now I want to ask you, if I was going to find this other missing angle, I just want to point out that if I was going to find this other missing angle, I could think about just this angle pair, and those are now supplementary. So I would do 180 minus 67 degrees to figure out what these other two angles are, and it ends up being 113. Alright, here's another example. Let's say I had a thing like this. It looks like a straight angle. I've got another angle coming off this way. I know that this section is 4x degrees and this section is 3x minus 30 degrees. So again, first identify what type of angle pair you've got. I'm going to look back in my notes if needed, and I notice that these are supplementary. So then I look back in my notes. Okay, supplementary adds to 180 degrees. So here's how this is different than what I do for vertical angles. Because it adds together and gives me 180, what I'm actually going to do is add the two angles and then set it equal to 180. So one of my angles is 3x minus 30, the other angle is 4x, and those added together gives me 180. That's how that one works. So I have 7x minus 30 equals 180, and then let's go through and just solve it. So go ahead, add 30 to both sides. 7x equals 210 degrees. Divide by 7, and x is 30. So now I need to figure out what the real angles are though. So this one's going to be 4 times 30. So this one's 120 degrees. And then this one is, well, if I could go through the whole thing, but it's going to be 180 minus 120. So this other angle is 60 degrees. All right, last example. Now I've got something that looks like this. That is a right angle right there. I know that this section is 12x degrees, and I know that this section is 2x plus 20 degrees. All right, so this time, these are not vertical angles. They're not supplementary. These are complementary because they add to be 90. So complementary, first step, figure out what type of angle pair you've got. They're complementary, so they add to 90. I am going to set it equal to 90, and then I'm going to add together my two angles. So I've got, my first angle is 2x plus 20, and my other angle is 12x. And then solve. 14x plus 20 equals 90. I am going to subtract 20 from both sides. And then I am going to divide by 14, and you end up with x equals 5. All right, let's find our angles. So again, as soon as you got your x, go back, plug it in for x. So this first one, let's see here, that ends up being 60 degrees. And the second one, these should add to be 90. So if I did that right, that should end up being 30 degrees. And it is. All right, pause the video to write down what you need to. Make sure you write down any questions you have so you can ask Miss Olson, and have a great day.